This is Southwest Flavor. I'm your host, Ron Arenas. Welcome back to another week. And today we have with us Kelly Maslyn and Heath Vescovi from Pima County. Yeah.
Love the applause.
In front of a live studio audience. That's why you hear all the applause. Not really, but. So tell us a little bit about, you guys are definitely involved with the Small Business Commission of Pima County, and tell us about that.
Yeah, I'll start off, but just saying that Heath and I recently celebrated our 3-year anniversary with Pima County Economic Development.
Okay.
So it's exciting for me to look back on how we've grown our department, but also the work we've done with the Small Business Commission. I took over as the coordinator of it like 2.5 years ago.
Okay.
And was very, very fortunate to have the lovely Janae Arenas as the chair for the last 2 years.
Yeah.
And working with her and understanding the issues that small businesses face and how the Small Business Commission can be proactive with businesses and helping create a better business environment for them, it has been really great.
Yeah, it's a struggle. It really is a struggle with running a small business day to day.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things out there that most people don't realize.
Right. And, just hearing from her and the rest of the commission about, the environment where, how do you find a loan?
Yeah.
How do you find grants? How do you work with Pima County when you have an issue related to your building, or the county and the city are currently revising the outdoor lighting code.
Oh.
And how do you work with the government to make sure it's a document that a small business owner can read and it's not all technical and detailed? So
right.
We have a lot of programs like that we are working on through the Small Business Commission. And we also have our Small Business Awards where we recognize 3 businesses every year.
Right.
And Janae has been really great about pushing those, and we had a record number of nominations this year.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, we had 207 nominations, I think.
Yeah.
And the previous year was our record. Before that, we had 71.
Oh, okay.
And before that, we had maybe a couple dozen.
Oh,
so
wow.
We've really been out there promoting all the small businesses in the community and all the work they're doing to make this community better.
Okay. Tell us a little bit about that. How is that promoted, and when is the awards, and how can people get nominated?
Sure. Our awards window is end of August to end of September, and we're looking at the categories this year, so we might revise them. We've been doing 1 urban, 1 rural, and 1 nonprofit award. But we realize it's hard to judge an urban business of 1 person versus an urban business of like 50 people.
Right.
So we're trying to get some better criteria in there. And we socialize it. We advertise it on social media.
Okay.
Our Small Business Commissioner is pushing out to their networks. We just get any chance we can. We have our Pima County Economic Development newsletter, and we put that out in there a couple times so that hopefully a lot of businesses that people know and love can be recognized for the work they're doing.
Yeah, that means so much. I mean, the small businesses, especially if they're a really small business, 1, 2, 3 people, they really don't have time to go out and self-promote for the most part. So, I mean, they're busy working in their business, just trying to stay afloat. Yeah,
and it's great for us to be able to recognize those communities like Forbes Meat Company downtown. They moved to a new location this year, and they were our urban winner this year, and it's given them a lot of opportunity to highlight their new location and the new services they provide. Their restaurant is amazing, but also the selection.
Are they still around downtown? Or?
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. They're in the 5 Points area.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so go visit it.
Yeah.
Have their burger. It is so good. Yeah.
I can do that.
Yeah.
That's an easy assignment.
Yeah, and our rural winner was the Arivaca Mercantile, which serves that area, which is very underserved as far as grocery stores.
Right.
So they are literally the only grocery store, and they have everything from coffee to, anything you want. It's like a mini Costco almost. Okay. So they're really great about serving their community. And then our nonprofit winner was SARSEF. They are the people that put on the science fair.
Oh.
And they are celebrating their 70th anniversaries of the science fair this year. So it was great to give them that recognition.
So is that like a science fair through all the schools, or?
Yeah, they do a statewide science fair, actually. They
okay.
started out in Tucson, but now they've expanded statewide, and
Wow.
they do their science fair in March, I think. And all the schools participate. They have thousands and thousands of science fair entries from schools all over.
Right.
And if you're interested in judging it, they're always looking for judges.
Okay. We all remember those days of science fair and having to get your kids' science project ready, usually a night or two before.
Yeah, right.
Because they never tell you,
Yeah.
They don't give you proper notice of it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. Like, I think of when I did the science fair, and they were very simple projects. And now you go and the kids have, like, very sciencey science projects. And I'm overwhelmed at the brilliance we have in our community and our kids.
Yeah, there's so much more information for our kids than what we had.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Heath, let's talk.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say, Kelly really hit the nail on the head with what the Small Business Commission does and really what they're contributing. And it actually contributes to the greater Economic Development Department strategy too, right? So understanding what the Small Business Commission does and what those leaders are doing and what they go through, that actually informs an additional program that Kelly runs, which is our Business Retention and Expansion Program. So she's out in the community chatting directly with businesses, setting up meetings with those businesses to figure out what issues they might be having, what resources they're looking for, how we can assist, or who we can put them in touch with to assist, right? So it's all about identifying those resources and understanding what's happening on the small business side, the medium-sized business, the large side. All of those are very different, but they're all interrelated, right? One way or the other. So that's just one of the many reasons that the Small Business Commission is extremely important, because it actually helps inform the entirety of part of our whole strategic plan within our department, which is phenomenal.
Yeah. I mean, if a large business possibly is having some issues, I mean, it can trickle down to the smaller business. Or either way, if a smaller business has some issues, it could possibly, go into one of the bigger businesses.
It absolutely does. Yeah.
So I think of like the suppliers of, the larger businesses, if they can't get, say, materials to create whatever part they create for a contractor, then it could really negatively impact them.
Yeah, we saw that during COVID. I mean, it was a mess during COVID. As a contractor, just to get all the parts for some of our projects, sometimes we'd have to go to 6 or 7 different distributors just to put together one project. Yeah, it was a mess.
Yep.
It really was.
I think we've hopefully come out of that. I think things have gotten a lot better. It's still
for the most part,
a little bit of a struggle, right? Still in certain instances, but I feel like now we're in a decent spot, and hopefully that just continues the upward trend, of improvement.
Yeah. A lot of it was either chips, microchips, or just the raw materials to make products.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It was tough to source a lot of those materials, to figure out the supply chains that were unbroken, how to fix some of those supply chains too. And then there was just the additional issue of the inflationary elements that was happening at the same time. And so the calming of all of that, right, has led to a level of stability. And so we're in a decent spot right now. But you never know, right, for exactly how long those things are going to last. And you see all these new things happening throughout the world, right? Like, everybody's talking about DeepSeek, right, and ChatGPT and OpenAI and all these things, and how all of those things now are upsetting the stock market in a new, different way that was unanticipated. So it's
just in the last couple of days.
It's not the traditional stuff we see with supply chains anymore, right? It's that in addition to all of these new technology-based companies that are really changing everything and just how we do business at the baseline, which is it's pretty wild days right now.
Yeah, always changing. So with the Pima County Economic Development, that encompasses all of Pima County. So no matter which jurisdiction you're in, like Tucson, Marana, Oro Valley, Vail.
Yes.
Yeah,
so the way that we look at it is that our department, we do support the entirety of the county, right? But if there's an organization or a municipality, the City of Tucson, Marana, Oro Valley, Sahuarita, City of South Tucson, if they're incorporated and they have an economic development department, our reason for being is to complement them and support them, right? So we don't step over, we don't supplant or anything like that. We're simply additional or supplemental. And then with unincorporated jurisdictions, we tend to work with the chambers that exist within those areas to help support what their initiatives are already.
Very nice.
And then, there's a little bit of nuance to that because, as an example, we own significant land holdings within the city of Tucson, and it's actually where we were able to attract a very large company. And so when we are the landowner, we might be considered the primary, right, for that specific project.
Oh,
and then you have to
okay.
figure out the different layers of government, right? Once you get to the point of who's doing the contract, how does the lease or the purchase or whatever work, then it's down to who does the permitting, when does TEP come in, right? All of those
Yeah.
different things. So
There's so many steps.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And we've gotten very good at it. So I will say we work with the city every single day. I had great meetings yesterday with a gentleman named Mike Chakowski on some infrastructure and annexation discussions. Those things are actually happening again today. And so just having those discussions openly also shows that the county and the city can work together very, very closely on some of these things, which are very important.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
And how are you working with the chambers?
So once again, we'll say Kelly is our direct liaison to all of the chambers in the region, given her experience running the Marana Chamber back in the day, and really the connection that she has to the community in her past position over at ASU has really ingrained her in the community. So she has those person-to-person connections. So we've created different kind of little projects with each chamber. As an example, with the Metro Chamber, we just had a connection with them where they would actually give direct access to their members to us specifically. So
nice.
if they had a specific issue, they could reach out to us without having to go through all these different layers, right? So really just about increasing access and figuring out what they need and how we can help them.
Yeah.
And it's great to work with all the chambers because the leadership in the region and the chambers is so strong.
They are, yeah.
And,
They're in a good
again,
spot.
it's a direct connection to those businesses, and
Right.
we want to be the government that helps.
Yeah.
We want to be able to solve problems for them. We want to be accessible and to be there no matter what they need. And as I mentioned to you earlier, I just had coffee with Kristen Sharp with the Oro Valley Chamber. I saw Amanda Wiggins with the Marana Chamber a couple weeks ago.
Right.
I talked to Bo Johnson at the Ajo Chamber frequently.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ajo, go visit it. It's an amazing place.
It is really awesome.
And there might be some people out there that don't know that Ajo is part of Pima County.
Right.
Yeah.
It is kind of far away.
It is, yeah.
But yeah, it's a really cool community, and they have a lot of interesting art there, and it's a really cute small town. I love it. I have a little heart on my car.
Make a little
that
day
says
trip
Ajo.
and go to lunch there or something?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really wonderful.
Right.
But we also work with like Randy Graff at the Sahuarita Green Valley Chamber, and I think I may have said that backwards. And there's a new CEO at the Vail Chamber who
okay.
is taking Brad Anderson's good work and running
Right.
with it. So we have a small business working group that we have with the chambers where we get together occasionally and talk about issues that are county-wide and just how we can work to resolve any, or how we can be proactive to prevent any issues.
Right, right. Being part of the chambers, there's some music coming
Yeah.
up. All right, well, I guess that's our cue to visit some sponsors. We'll be back in just a couple minutes with Southwest Flavor.
My heat and air were in a state of disrepair.
Happy New Year and welcome to 2025. It's a new year, but we still have air conditioning and heating systems at last year's prices. We have high-efficient inverter systems for as low as $89 a month. For year-round comfort, call Picture Rocks Cooling, Heating, and Plumbing at 520-492-0748 or PictureRocksCooling.com.
Picture Rocks Cooling, Heating and Plumbing.
Hi, I'm Alan Murdoch. For the past 20 years, I've been buying, fixing, and selling properties right here in southern Arizona. And I want to buy your property. Whether it's a house, apartment, commercial building, or vacant land, regardless of the condition or the situation, I want to talk to you. When you sell to me, I pay cash and it's hassle-free. No repairs, no closing costs, and no commissions. If you have a property you don't want to deal with and you want a quick solution, call, text, or visit selltalon.com. Again, that's selltalon.com.
Discover the power of 88 Crime, where your anonymous tips are rewarded with cash.
When you call in anonymously with a tip, you are given a code. With the code and a password, you can walk into a bank and redeem your reward anonymously. If your anonymous tip results in a felony arrest, you can claim up to $2,500 cash reward.
Let's stop the silence on crime and strive for a safer community. For more information, please visit 88crime.org or call 88crime.
Copper Creek Cookies, Copper Creek Cookies, CopperCreekCookies.net.
We can print anything on our soft vanilla logo cookies. We deliver them and other sweet treats locally. We are located at 4249 West Ina Road, Suite 121. Call us 520-300-1131. We bake smiles.
Copper Creek Cookies, Copper Creek Cookies, coppercreekcookies.net.
All right, we are back. Welcome back to Southwest Flavor. We're talking a little bit about the chambers, and I just wanted to touch on that. It's that the chambers are so important to the business community, and the chambers hear firsthand from the business owners their struggles.
Yeah.
And so it's great that you guys have a partnership with them. It is, because they can pass along what their members are seeing and feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I can tell you, as Heath mentioned, I used to run the Marana. I was the CEO of the Marana Chamber for 4 years, and that really started my passion for helping the business community.
Yeah.
And so it's great that I have this opportunity within Pima County to be effective at change for small business for the better. Because when I took this job, I was like, I want people to say Pima County is business friendly. Yeah. And so that's what I work on every day, to make sure that people know that at least our office, if you have an issue, we will do whatever we can to solve it.
And
Very good.
Those chambers know their people so well, right? Like that direct connection between the chamber, like Amanda and Marana, and their businesses is almost second to none, right?
Right.
And so having that direct connection through Kelly to us, and then to be able to be that kind of breaking point between public and private, that I think is a really important thing. And, it goes back to what Kelly said, where, we want to be the government and we're here to help. That's an actual thing, like for us, right? Because we're meant to be that bridge. That's like one of the sole purposes for the reason that our department exists and does what it does. So it's a really good opportunity to just get in that mix and make sure that we're boots on the ground every single day.
Yeah, that's so important. Yeah, definitely. Kelly mentioned before about your strategic plan.
Yes. Yeah. So our department does have an economic development strategic plan, and it has for quite some time. So before Kelly and I got here, I think the first one that they had done might have been 2012 or something, just a little bit after that.
Okay.
So we've gone through several iterations, and we recently just redid ours in 2023. So it was approved in early 2023, and it has a shelf life effectively through 2026.
Okay.
It can be extended just a little bit if we need to, but what we're going to end up doing is actually this year and into the next year, go through a little bit of an exercise to update it and refresh it and everything to make sure that it's still accurate in certain areas. Part of the thing that happens is when you look at what is happening on the local level, the regional level, state level, federal level, you need to be able to have some fresh document, right, that reflects what different priorities are and how those priorities are effectively going to be addressed, right, through those different levels of government. So as you go from transition from one federal administration to the other, and there's different things happening at the state and the local levels, it just makes the most sense in the world to take a hard look at it and say, this makes sense, this doesn't make sense. So we'll go through a process regionally, right? We'll engage the community, we'll engage our small businesses, our medium-sized businesses, large-sized businesses, academia, the university, PCC, and all the municipalities, and just say, hey, does this still make sense in your guys' eyes? Are the assets listed still appropriate and accurate? And I think the reason that we do this, not only to just have that confluence at all levels, is to make sure that we're representing the county appropriately, right? So as an organization, as Pima County government, but also the regional municipalities, right? Because we do have the fortunate opportunity to represent them or work with them when it is appropriate. And so to make sure that what our mission and our values are and what we're driving at are in confluence with their strategic plans and everything, it just makes everything so much easier for us to, say, I can call Paul Melcher in Oro Valley and say, does this make sense? Are you cool with it? How can you join with us? And then we're off to the races like that.
That's great. That's great that you guys have relationships like that.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the way we work together.
Exactly.
As a small business owner, we have a strategic plan, and we usually do a 1, a 3, and a 5-year plan. And then, of course, it just gets updated.
Yeah, exactly. And it's very similar for us, right? We'll look at it. We'll see what the cadence of update needs to be. We'll do that as appropriate. And then we also have to reconcile that with all the different plans that exist within Pima County as an organization itself. So we're redoing the general plan right now, updating the general plan, I should say, Pima Prospers. And I believe we're embarking upon a strategic plan that we're going to be doing for the county-wide. And then there's the Prosperity Initiative and all these other different things, right? So we just make sure that all those things are coalescing in the right way, if you will.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun to put together. The first time we did it, so in 2023, we met with over 150 different entities or individuals, met with businesses throughout the entire county, had a couple of business surveys that were both out in English and Spanish so we could get as much feedback as possible, and then community surveys as well. So we took all that information and then did a lot of data gathering with a third-party consultant that helped us put everything together. So we're really proud. It's a very comprehensive plan. It's also much shorter than the previous ones.
Oh,
so we
okay.
just made it a little bit more, I don't want to say like accomplishable, but a little
Right.
bit more focused, if you
Yeah.
will. But all the other plans that preceded it, we still have elements of those plans that exist
Sure.
in this one too, right? So they don't just go away; they just get kind of morphed into this new iteration.
Right. Usually with any strategic plan, you're going to have long-term goals and short-term goals.
Correct, yeah.
Right. And you definitely want to have achievable goals as your short-term goals, and
Yeah.
then sometimes you have some dream goals as your long-term goals.
That is correct. And
Yeah.
I'm glad you said that, because then Supervisor Bronson, that was one of her concerns was, are there too many goals, and what are you guys going to do in the immediate? So we extracted 5 of those from the entire plan and said, these are the top 5 that we'll start with.
Right.
And then at the time, Supervisor Scott was also saying, how are we going to measure these things? So we developed some specific KPIs and metrics, right, so that we can report appropriately what the actual progress is on these things.
Wow, you're talking my language now. KPIs and metrics, and we at the end of the year in December, we always do our strategic planning and our budgeting and everything, and we have our 1 through 5 that has to be done pretty much immediately, and then we have our 6 through about 15, which is stuff that we're working on, and then 16 plus is just those are kind of the dream goals.
Yeah, absolutely.
It'd be nice, but they're kind of on the back burner.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, definitely.
And I think what was great about this strategic plan versus the previous ones is that we had so much stakeholder input in it. And
that's great.
So to hear from the community what the needs were, in addition to what we thought the needs were, and I think that really helped us create a solid plan to move the county in a positive direction.
Okay.
And
So-
I will say all of our internal departments too, right? So not just engaging everybody externally, but once we did, then how does that all reconcile internally? And even having Jan in those meetings was really amazing too, because you got the top, administrative individual putting a keen eye on everything and saying yes, not necessarily, right? And so that was a really cool thing to mix that all together, and then to have development services there, and real property, and all the things that just make the county, and also that we utilize every single day to facilitate the different things that we're doing. It was kind of magical, honestly. It was pretty cool.
Very cool. Where's some of the top needs that you guys are hearing in Pima County?
So one of our core elements is business attraction, right?
Okay.
So bringing new businesses to the region or expanding new businesses here. So for us, it's about the creation of jobs, and it's about the capital investment. That's one thing, right? That is a need for the region, and for multiple different reasons. Number one, to create better jobs in the area, in the region, gives people more opportunity.
Of course.
You can make more money, you have more upward economic mobility, and so you're not just, stuck, quote unquote, in a certain job. You have the ability to jump up and move around. And there's a component to workforce development there, right? That is kind of a perfect interplay. The other thing is that I mentioned earlier, just very briefly, but we have some land assets that we utilize for economic development. And so when you are able to attract a company, and depending on the nature of that transaction, whether it's a lease or a purchase or a lease purchase, once that land gets back onto private tax rolls, you're then generating property tax.
All right.
So property tax being generated in perpetuity goes into the general fund, and that allows us to continue to create different programs, identify new programs, or just deliver the critical infrastructure and services that the county is obligated to provide to the region, right? So that's kind of how we look at it, is the capital investment, the jobs associated with it, making sure those jobs are at a good enough level from a salary perspective. And then we also look for, quality employers and things like that. So not only about how much they pay, but how they treat their employees, if they have different programs that are beneficial for them, offers, certain levels of health insurance, all those different types of things.
All right. So are we looking for like manufacturing jobs or bioscience jobs? Or?
Yes. So We've got 6 different industry focus areas in our plan. Advanced manufacturing is one of them.
Okay.
And I'll go back to the idea of looking at the Moranas, the Oro Valleys, the Sauritas. They all have their individual industry focus areas too, but you talk about bio or life sciences, that's a very Oro Valley focus area.
It is,
So the answer is yes, we are looking for those opportunities and those jobs in like pharmacy and things like that. There's agricultural opportunities, manufacturing opportunities, transportation, distribution, logistics is huge here.
Okay.
Light assembly and manufacturing. And then obviously we're focusing on energy, whatever that may or may not be. And so just a lot of different opportunities, but it all comes down to manufacturing as a key core component, and then trade to a certain extent.
Yeah.
And then we always love research and development in technology, right? Those are very, very important for us too.
Right. Yeah. Trade is very important.
It
I
is.
mean, it's close to my heart, of course, but most of the tradesmen are aging out. So
Yes.
you definitely need a younger crowd to come
Absolutely, yeah. And that's a big thing that we see with our partners, right? I know Kelly has a really great program that she's working on with the school superintendent's office called the Pima Aviation Alliance. And then we know JTED does really great work.
Right.
PCC is doing very good work. The U of A is doing very good work in all these areas. But I'd love to hear more about Aviation Alliance if you have a sec.
Yeah, sure. How much time do we have? So we have 4 maintenance, repair, operation facilities for airplanes
Okay.
locally. And if you're driving to or from Phoenix, right just past Red Rock, you see a bunch of airplanes off the side of the road. Well, that's Ascent Aviation, and we have 3 others that are like that. So they are like the car repair business of airlines.
Right.
And so they bring in planes, they maintain them, they do the oil changes.
Do all the
and
maintenance on them.
So that when you're flying, you feel safe because you know that they're working on it.
That's important. Yeah.
Well, they're reaching a critical point in their life cycle of businesses. They have a bunch of people who are retirement age who are getting ready to fall off.
Sure.
But there's also they haven't been creating enough people to backfill for those positions.
Yeah.
Pima Community College a couple of years ago expanded their aviation technology program, so they're putting out twice as many people as they were before.
Yeah,
But
and they
it's-
have a big place over at the airport, right?
Yeah. But they're still not putting out enough for the need in the region. So at any given time, each facility could be looking for 100 different employees with maintenance and repair. So we've been working with local high schools to introduce a aviation technician program in the high schools. We did a pilot program with Sunnyside High School where they were taking classes at Pima Community College after school, and they're in their 2nd year. So in 1 more year, they'll graduate with their general aviation maintenance certificate.
Oh, nice.
And then they can either go directly to Pima Community College's programs or get a job with one of the aviation facilities.
Wow.
And we're looking to expand a program where the students in local high schools will get taught as a CTE program or a extracurricular program. And we have been talking with Marana High, Sunnyside High, Saurita, and one of the schools in Vail about starting a curriculum that is 2 years. So junior and senior year.
Nice. Yeah.
They get their aviation maintenance certificate. And then we've been also talking with our industry partners about hiring them directly out of high school.
Right.
And what's great about those jobs is they're a family sustaining wage. So they could earn like $65,000 right out of high school.
Wow.
And
for Tucson, that's nice.
Yeah. And we had a speaker at Sunnyside High School that had graduated from Sunnyside, and he works at Bombardier, I think. And he asked the kids, how many of you would like to buy a new car every year? They all raise their hand. How many of you would like to buy the newest gaming system? And he's like, I can do that because I am in this industry.
Right.
And so that got them all excited.
Sure, piques their interest.
Yeah. And just to work on airplanes, it's a great opportunity because the wage is so high. Frontier Airlines was recently looking for mechanics with a couple years experience. They had a $50,000 signing bonus.
Wow.
Plus they'd make $80,000 a year. So it's a great industry for people who want to do that kind of hands-on work, and they can do it with very little skill building because the industry partners are willing to teach them the skills along the way.
Okay. And with those jobs, is there enough jobs here in Southern Arizona
Yeah.
to keep them down here?
Yeah, and we want to keep them down here.
Right.
We don't want them going to the frontiers. So we think that, when they go directly out of school to the industry partners, when the industry partners teach them, they also learn the culture of the company, and they're more likely to stay in that business
true.
because they have that affinity for them. And and it's we want to replicate that with some of the other programs. Pima County also has a Southern Arizona Manufacturing Partnership, which is we modeled our aviation program on the Southern Arizona Manufacturing Partnership. And we work with the industry partners and take students on tours of the facilities so they can see what manufacturing looks like. It's not a dirty, operation. It's very high tech, and Pima Community College has a really great machining program, but so do a lot of the high schools. So a couple weeks ago, we took 8th graders from that feed into the high schools with the machining programs. We took them on tours of our our manufacturing partners, and then they went to the high schools to see what the opportunities are. So we're trying to backfill all those high school CTE programs so that when the time comes, there are plenty of those manufacturing employees available for the employers.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's good.
It's long range planning, but it
Sounds
helps.
like a lot, right? And this is one, pathway for all of these different children that are going through K through 12 right now, just at any variation of that level. And it's interesting because it is just another off-ramp, if you will, or an on-ramp and then an off-ramp into a sustainable career for these individuals.
Right.
So whether they're in this program or they're going through PCC or they go through this program and then into PCC or whatever that ends up looking like, each organization in the region is going to be sustained, right, from that perspective. And then those kids go to make really good money, very, very quickly. And then I think the key thing was the experiential part, right? That's the really cool thing, is going out, having these kids on these tours, getting them familiarized with these things and letting them see what actually it looks like, right? Instead of what their preconceived notions might be, or zero preconceived notion.
Yeah.
And then to liken it to something that, seems or is important to them. Do you have to take care of your family? You can do that if you're making money and you're working in this industry. Do you want a new Xbox? Yeah, sure. Do you want to get a new car? Absolutely. Do you want health insurance? Well, I'm 18, maybe not yet, but those.
Yeah.
Those
well, they
types
don't think about those things, but
correct, right?
And are you going to have a family, and your family needs health insurance?
Absolutely,
yeah,
right.
Exactly.
So huge implications just across the board for the way that it's being integrated and socialized with the kids, so they understand what is out there and how cool it is, legitimately.
Yeah.
A lot of times they don't know what jobs are out there. And I was talking to some of the junior high counselors, and I was like, when I was in high school, we had career day when I was a junior. And it's like, by then it's already too late.
Right.
And so we're working to try and show kids in junior high what the career opportunities are here locally. Because studies have shown if you know by 8th grade kind of what you want to be when you grow up, they're more likely to stay in high school. So,
okay.
So
wow, I had no idea what I wanted to do in 8th grade.
Right? I didn't even know what was out there. So,
right, exactly.
So that's we're trying to build a career education program for the teachers in 5th through 8th grade, so that they know what opportunities are out there, so they can talk to their kids about it every day. Add that into the curriculum. You need to learn this math because if you want to be a air conditioner repair person, you need to learn how to do this math.
Exactly.
And air conditioner repair people make a lot of money. So it's a great opportunity.
Trade, yeah, it is.
So it's, just having those conversations while they're young and they can see a path forward and a career in their future, they're more likely to stay in high school. So we're trying to also increase the graduation rate in the Tucson area.
Yeah. A lot of things I think that people don't know is that these trades are so technical now. Everything is Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, and you have to do things to set things up. So it's great for this next generation because they're on their phones, they're on their computers, they're on their PlayStations or whatever every day. So it almost comes natural for them.
It very much does. It's just the complementary, skills of the things that we utilize and take advantage of every single day to being able to create those things for people or repair them, right? So that you can live a comfortable life and have a functioning air conditioning unit at your home. There's huge implications for that.
Or
exactly,
doing some manufacturing.
Or being able to do your own electrical upgrades at your home, right? Because you're very well versed in those things. I mean, all of those things have so many different implications for people, And if there were more trade opportunities, when I was growing up, honestly, in high school and even before that, I would have loved to have done those because now you don't have enough time to do that. And I would love to just be able to go ahead and fix that thing at my house very quickly, but I don't have that experience, so I do rely on other people to do that, and that's very important because people are becoming more and more reliant on those types of individuals.
They are. The service industry is definitely growing.
Yeah,
because people don't have time to fix their own stuff.
Right.
Yeah, we're a very busy society.
Yes, we are.
We fill up our schedule pretty full, me included.
Yes, yeah, I know I have to get something repaired at my house, and I'm like, I don't even have time to sit there and wait for the repair person to come, so I keep putting it off.
Right. But I love what you guys are saying about, getting in there and talking to them while they're young. This is building our future.
Right.
It really is.
Yeah.
And if these young people kind of have a path to go on, not necessarily that all of them are going to go on that path, but at least they have a focus where they can go in that direction. And if they end up liking it, then they'll stay on it probably for their workable life.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Perfect timing.
It's time for another sponsor opportunity. So we will be back with Southwest Flavor after we talk to our sponsors.
My heat and air were in a state of disrepair.
Happy New Year and welcome to 2025. It's a new year, but we still have air conditioning and heating systems at last year's prices. We have high-efficient inverter systems for as low as $89 a month. For year-round comfort, call Picture Rocks Cooling, Heating, and Plumbing at 520-492-0748 or PictureRocksCooling.com.
Picture Rocks Cooling, Heating and Plumbing.
Hi, I'm Alan Murdoch. For the past 20 years, I've been buying, fixing, and selling properties right here in southern Arizona. And I want to buy your property. Whether it's a house, apartment, commercial building, or vacant land, regardless of the condition or the situation, I want to talk to you. When you sell to me, I pay cash and it's hassle-free. No repairs, no closing costs, and no commissions. If you have a property you don't want to deal with and you want a quick solution, call, text, or visit selltalon.com. Again, that's selltalon.com.
Discover the power of 88 Crime, where your anonymous tips are rewarded with cash.
When you call in anonymously with a tip, you are given a code. With the code and a password, you can walk into a bank and redeem your reward anonymously. If your anonymous tip results in a felony arrest, you can claim up to $2,500 cash reward.
Let's stop the silence on crime and strive for a safer community. For more information, please visit 88crime.org or call 88crime.
Copper Creek Cookies, Copper Creek Cookies, CopperCreekCookies.net.
We can print anything on our soft vanilla logo cookies. We deliver them and other sweet treats locally. We are located at 4249 West Ina Road, Suite 121. Call us 520-300-1131. We bake smiles.
Copper Creek Cookies, Copper Creek Cookies, CopperCreekCookies.net.
You're listening to the Live the Dream Media Network, Arizona's premier live podcast studio and online radio.
All right, welcome back to Southwest Flavor. I'm here talking with Heath and Kelly.
Hello.
So we wanted to talk about attractions.
Yes. So I think we'll talk about attraction, we'll talk about business retention and expansion, and then maybe some recent successes.
Okay.
I would like to start with the BRE because it's interesting.
And that's the business retention.
And expansion.
And
Yes.
expansion.
Sorry. Business retention and expansion. And it's good because it really kind of, shows the boots on the ground and the connections, right, as we were talking about before. But I think maybe a couple of what we've done recently and who you've met with and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, so I handle all the business retention, expansion, and visiting businesses.
Right.
I do it a lot in partnership with the City of Tucson and Sun Corridor.
Oh, okay.
So we are a group here to see how we can help you. We recently went to a business called Ajax Manufacturing, They make aftermarket parts, OEMs.
Okay.
Yeah. And they are very precision in the work they do.
Yeah.
They moved here maybe 6 months ago, I think.
Oh.
But one of the things that they were having a problem with was finding employees because it's a new company. Nobody knows who they are. So I connected them with the Pima County One Stop that helps people that need jobs find jobs. And
I think as a business, it's free to use.
It is free to use, yeah. And so it's a great employment service.
Right.
And they also offer, they have money to help with on-the-job training. So they're also taking advantage of that. So what's really great is we have this great relationship with community and workforce development at Pima County. So when I learned what the needs were for this business, I connected them directly with the people at community workforce development. Within half an hour, they responded and were like, hey, let us know how we can help you.
Wow.
And they set up a meeting with the business, I think a week later, and are now working to help them find employees.
Fantastic.
Yeah, and I also visited a new manufacturer that opened about a year ago here, and they were also finding it difficult to recruit employees because they're off Rita Road. Nobody knows who they are, and they are working with Pima County One Stop as well. So it's again, what we hear a lot from businesses is I can't find employees, and so Pima County is a great conduit to help them find the employees that they need.
Right.
Especially Pima County has a veteran service center that helps veterans find
nice.
jobs. So very helpful to that community as they either transition out or they've been out of work for a while and need a new job. So it's great to have those resources in our pocket when we go visit businesses so that we can help them be successful here locally or expand.
And keep them, like you said.
Yeah. And, Carlos Ruiz, once he and I were having a conversation, he's former chair of the Small Business Commission. He's like, if every small business in Pima County added one employee, that would make a huge economic impact regionally. And so every time I go visit a business, I have him in my head saying that, like, how can I help this business add one more employee?
Right. I mean, if the businesses are successful, then the whole community is successful.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then it lifts all boats.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah. If people are able to pay their bills and feed their family, then they're gonna be more successful.
Yeah. And from the business perspective, it's also great to have someone that can actually help you, be successful, or at least have an ear where they can talk about things, we're having trouble getting the sewer line installed. So how can we make those connections and see if we can help them speed that up, or certificates of occupancy, those kind of things. Pima County Health Department is a big one that a lot of people complain about, but they're trying to keep people healthy. We also are trying to find ways that they will work with us through and help the businesses. And when I first started, we did a kind of health department roadshow where we went out to the chambers and talked about other than the health directives, what are the things the health department offers businesses? And they have workplace programs that can help keep your employees healthy.
Oh, okay.
And so it was kind of a roadshow to help people see that the health department isn't just your enemy. They have these keys that can help you be successful in your business.
Okay.
And
so it's not just restaurants that we're talking about,
right?
For the health department.
Yeah, it's a lot of different. They have immunization clinics that they can bring to your business.
Okay.
And I can't think of anything else right now because that was 2 years ago that I did that, and I've had a lot of other stuff in my head.
Yeah.
But it was really great. It was eye-opening for a lot of businesses to see that the health department isn't just restaurant certifications.
Yeah, that's usually what you think of is them coming in and doing inspections and what follows that.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, and they have a whole program. If you're interested in opening a restaurant, they will go with you to a space to look at it to see if it is ready to be a restaurant, or they'll say, if you take this space over, it might cost you $5,000 to add this in because it's not here.
Yeah.
So they can be a proactive partner for restaurants too.
Yeah. Speaking of restaurants, we just visited Rocco's new location yesterday.
I wanna go.
Yeah.
It looks really cool.
It's really cool. Yeah.
I gotta go.
Service was great. Food was great. So they always do a really good job
Food's
over
always
there.
great there.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I was thinking what Kelly was saying, right, and a few kind of like key overarching takeaways for me is, number one, having the direct connection for any business to us is a good thing, right? Because we can act as that interface. I think it also shows the variety, right, of issues that businesses can potentially face. And then the fact that a lot of those things can be addressed immediately or very quickly through the county for free, effectively, right, in many instances, which is really great. There's also just the guidance, right, on certain permits and how to get things done, which is extremely helpful. But it really shows the latitude, right, of Kelly and myself and our whole team, really, and I mean that county-wide, to be able to address these things, not only from the perspective of their department, but also from the perspective of the business. So the more that those interactions happen, the more that those departments start seeing the needs of businesses and how they can act quickly for those businesses, but also still maintain the integrity of what their departmental mission, vision, and requirements are, right?
Sure.
So that's a really unique thing, and I just love the idea of being able to connect to public health and for a solution to be had, and then you move on to the next business and assist them. And the quickness, literally the quickness with which CWD responded to those emails, I was almost irritated with how quickly the emails were coming into my inbox, because I was like, they're doing this like so fast. And I think, it's just nice because that large governments can be slow in many instances.
Sure.
With a lot of people doing a lot of different things, but when it really comes down to it, there's dedicated people behind the scenes just doing these things and making them happen so quickly. And, kind of a story I have from the BRE side is I had visited a business. They had no issue finding talent to get to where they were, right? That's not always the issue.
Right.
And, the issue is sometimes you can't find it, not because it doesn't exist, you just don't know exactly where to look. But the thing that we gleaned from them after we had met with them was that they're on the precipice of an expansion. So as they're looking to hire X amount of employees, 25 or 50 or whatever it might be, instead of doing it in the middle of that expansion process, we're helping proactively plan that. So they have these different places they can feed from, and that'll take away a lot of that kind of angst, right, or anxiety about finding those people when you need them.
Right. And
we can also help train individuals in advance, right, so that those individuals that they end up hiring are at a level where they can just dive right in, right? So there's really no learning curve for them. So all different shapes and sizes of issues when you talk to businesses, and all different shapes and sizes of ways to help them with those things.
Yeah, that's so important. One of the things that we try to do is we always try to have kind of the next man up.
Yeah.
So, we're training. We try to get younger people.
Sure.
And make sure that they fit into our culture.
Exactly.
And then, just train them up, get them all the training that they need, but have them so that when we're ready for them, they're ready for us.
Yeah. That's great. And if you're investing in their training, just like with us with professional development and with all these different programs, that is one of the surest signs that you're investing in that person, right? So then they like you, it resonates more with them, and there's that significant connection, right, between your job, your business, and that individual, and that helps on the retention side for sure for a long time.
Definitely.
Yeah. Gives you buy-in on all sides, which is really cool.
Yeah.
Loyalty.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. It's definitely a culture thing.
Yeah.
But you create that culture, and it helps with your longevity.
Yeah, absolutely. So we mentioned the attraction stuff, right?
Yeah.
So I mentioned earlier we've got 6 industries that we really try to focus on here in the area. And so we go through attraction in many different ways. Number one, we work with all of our state and regional partners and even federal partners on how we engage with businesses and how we get them to look at Pima County in southern Arizona, right, as a viable option for them to locate.
Yeah.
A lot of those discussions are happening with businesses that have not yet made the decision to expand or relocate, right?
Okay.
So you're just basically testing the waters with a lot of them because, as you know, business decisions are very long-term in nature. You have to do all these different cost-benefit analyses, and the business case has to be there, right, in many different instances. The Arizona Commerce Authority has done an extraordinary job of generating different leads with all these different industries and all these different businesses that are ready to expand.
Oh, okay.
So they're effectively a step further in the process, and now they're actively looking for a space, whether it be a plot of land or an existing building or a building that's about to come online. And so then there's that interplay of where is that building, where is that land, what are the incentives that are offered from the state level, what's the cost of doing business versus in Tucson versus Phoenix maybe, or Flagstaff, or anywhere across the state. So the Arizona Commerce Authority is really good about creating those opportunities for us, involving us in those discussions, and then running those cost comparatives, right? So that's been really, really great, and that's a really wonderful organization to work with. There's the connection from Arizona Commerce Authority to us and the regional municipalities, as well as Sun Corridor. We also have an internal lead generation platform, so we're actually working on generating our own leads simultaneously.
Okay.
A lot of people, maybe many people, think that might be duplicative, but there's so much potential out there for business expansion and attraction that really it's just additive, to be perfectly honest. So what the ACA does and what Sun Corridor does and what we do, it's all rowing in the same direction, right? And it's coordinated effectively, which is great. And then we do that obviously with the municipalities too. I mean, government to government discussion happens every single day among the economic development practitioners.
Wow.
So we really know what everyone is, each other is doing basically every single day. I talk to the city every day. I think I talk to Oro Valley every single day. And if not, Marana and Saurita once a week, right?
Okay.
So we're just doing the thing, right, to make sure we're all on the same page.
It's a partnership.
Exactly,
Absolutely.
right?
Yeah.
And it's complementary in nature. That's the thing. We never want to do anything that oversteps the priorities of those departments,
Right.
because those priorities are rooted in the policy that is made by their individual councils and how they're managed, right, in their cities or their towns. So we just want to make sure that we're doing the right thing when we're chatting with them.
Very good.
Yeah. We also do a lot of travel, right? We'll go to different places to talk directly with businesses and with site selectors and things like that. Having those long-term relationships is very important. And then being able to make sure that people know what Pima County is, or that Tucson is a thing in Arizona. It's not just Phoenix, right? The black hole of Phoenix.
Right.
And that's also not to say that having Phoenix is a bad thing, because we do get a lot of attention because of Phoenix,
Yeah.
right? So the success of Phoenix does lead to some of the success in Tucson as well. So you just got to kind of figure out where you lie in that whole ecosystem, and then really how to play up your strengths. And then you have to go and meet people where they're at all the time, which is a lot of fun, can be exhausting, but we also bring them here too. So we're trying to do a little bit of everything all at once.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Can you tell us a couple little successes that you've had? And
Yeah. So she mentioned Ajax Metal Forming earlier. That's a recent success. There was Silver Recycling, which was a really a nice locate for us as well. And then, we've been talking about it for quite some time. American Battery Factory is a battery manufacturing.
Yeah.
And so we're going through the process with them of getting everything in order so that they can start mobilizing for construction. And then
Very
simultaneously working on a few other things, all at the same time. So those are good successes and good opportunities that we've created for that type of investment in the region. It's an exciting time. There's a lot of stuff happening right now.
Yeah, I think they've been talking about that battery factory for a while, a couple of years now, maybe.
We got the agreement passed by the Board of Supervisors in December of 2022.
Okay.
And it was a 5-year primary term, so they're leasing the land from us and on the back end doing all the things they have to do, fundraising, acquisition of equipment, all the permitting, all these different things that they have to go through. And so we're coming up to that point of, figuring out, are they going to be able to mobilize their equipment? And it looks like everything is happening in relatively short order, which is nice. But it does take a long time. You never know what's going to happen on the private side. They're subject to so many things, right? Pushing and pulling them at all these different levels.
Right.
And, we talked about it earlier, supply chain, how you source all these different resources, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
They're responsible for doing that. I think the easy part was getting the agreement with us.
Okay.
Then after that, right, they have to go through all these things on the private side. So they're working very, very diligently. It's been an interesting process for them and for us, for sure.
How many jobs do you think they'll bring to the area?
So overall, it's slated to be 1,000, right?
Oh, okay.
And we know that there may or may not be a little bit of wiggle room in there just because things shift and change and all that. And then we're looking at how they're phasing it too. Originally, we talked about 3 different phases, but we might break some of those phases down. So it's like a phase 1A, 1B, and then you get to 2. So the cadence of hiring might be a little bit different than originally anticipated, but eventually the idea is they slate up to that 1,000 amount of individuals.
All right. Well, thank you. Thank you for joining us today.
It was great.
Can you
was a
tell
lot of fun.
everyone how to get a hold of you if they have questions?
Pima.gov/economic development. And you can also sign up for our newsletter there.
Yeah. Very good. Well, that's another episode of Southwest Flavor. We look forward to seeing you next Tuesday.